Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonya Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. Joining me in the studio this week, we've got Alasdair Brooks, who's the Chief Executive from Reform Heritage. Alasdair, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Sonya.
Good. Now, Alasdair, Chief Executive, as I've mentioned, from Reform Heritage. Now, what is Reform Heritage, first of all, and what is it best known for in Stoke-on-Trent?
Well, Reform Heritage is a heritage regeneration charity. We're best known in Stoke for the regeneration of Middleport pottery in Burslem. Burslemites would prefer me to say Middleport, of course, but Middleport pottery in Burslem, which was regenerated by the Prince's Regeneration Trust, of which we were then a part. And we achieved our independence in 2016. And since December 2023, we've also been the Heritage Regeneration Trust for all of Stoke-on-Trent under a programme launched by the Architectural Heritage Fund and National Lottery Heritage Fund. We have some support from Historic England as well for that, and recognition from Stoke-on-Trent City Council. And we're currently in the process of taking on additional heritage regeneration projects across the city.
It sounds an awful lot, and an awful lot in a short space of time. And as we're talking on Business Spotlight, and this is, a business interview, how is heritage so important, and how do the two relate to actually local businesses?
I could throw a lot of statistics at you, but that's probably not the right idea in this particular context. I think it's safe to note that studies by Historic England, the Lottery and other bodies have shown a real connection between heritage regeneration and business growth and economic growth. In fact, one of the key goals of Reform Heritage is to combine the regeneration of at-risk heritage buildings with economic and social regeneration. We absolutely know that businesses find it a benefit to work in areas where there's positive regeneration of heritage, not just because heritage means something to local people, but also because historic buildings give a positive image to customers and clients. Yeah.
And is it also as well, having that heritage and the importance, and also shouting about it and showcasing it, does it bring about that brand awareness as well for an area, and also the businesses who are associated with it?
Absolutely. Now, one of the key aspects of my career has been looking at the 19th century British ceramics industry in international context. I've only been in my current role for a little bit over 3.5 years, but in fact I've spent over 30 years studying Staffordshire ceramics internationally.
Wow.
And I've travelled the world. I've worked on every continent except Antarctica, seeing the impact of 19th century British ceramics, particularly Staffordshire ceramics, on the historic and archaeological record of the different regions around the world. Just 2.5 years ago, just one quick example, I was in Valparaiso, Chile, looking at Staffordshire ceramics that had been traded there in the 19th century. So it's not just that Stokies have, understandably, an immense sense of pride and place in the history and heritage of Stoke-on-Trent. It's genuinely an internationally significant heritage as well. And being able to shout about that does help bring attention to Stoke. But I would argue that it's more than just building brand awareness. There are actual practical economic benefits from heritage regeneration as well.
And what do you want to elaborate on what those practical benefits would be?
I will throw out one or two statistics here, and that's that the National Lottery Heritage Fund conducted a evaluation study of 6 case study from their Heritage Grants programme, that sites that were regenerated between 2002 and 2007, and it showed a gross value added of 8.4 million generated annually over the 10 years since the regeneration. That equated to 84 million of gross value added across just 6 projects alone. And since the combined grant awarded to those 6 projects was 27 million, that was a return of over 3 times what was originally invested. And in addition, there were temporary economic benefits of 3.1 million and 70 net jobs created during the construction phases of those heritage projects. So yes, part of it is pride of place. Part of it is the concept that working out of a historic building can bring real value to a business, but there are tangible economic benefits to businesses where heritage regeneration is taking place.
And do you think there are, say the local independent businesses, do you think there is barriers where there might not be as big or a wider understanding on the importance of sort of, keeping our heritage and remembering our heritage and building that in to the local towns? Do you think that might get forgotten?
I do think there are occasional barriers to understanding. Sometimes you get local businesses or local property developers who find themselves owning a listed building, and their focus is on, oh my goodness, I have a listed building. I need to not just get planning consent, I need to get listed building consent. What does that mean for my building? But there are bodies both nationally and locally that can support owners with that, and gaining that consent, thinking about how to sensitively regenerate the building, and thinking about how to incorporate that regeneration into the business needs as well. So please, local businesses, if you do own a Grade 2 listed building somewhere in Stoke-on-Trent, please don't think of this as an obstacle. Think of it as an opportunity. And I would note there that, in fact, sensitive regeneration can increase your property value as well. So it's not just a matter of benefiting your business, it will increase the property value as well.
And, we're hearing more and more in the news, and over the last couple of years and more, regeneration coming into, developments in Stoke-on-Trent across the whole city. It does seem to be becoming more and more newsworthy, should I say, and you're hearing of different things. But again, how is that important? Could you maybe answer on those smaller local independent businesses in the towns, say, of Burslem and elsewhere?
Well, again, it's long been a goal of the charity to combine the regeneration of at-risk heritage sites with the economic and social regeneration. I would like to think that the regeneration of Middleport pottery has had positive, tangible benefits to not just Burslem, but Middleport specifically. Because we can't get away. I don't want to ignore the fact that Stoke-on-Trent features highly in... Stoke-on-Trent is one of the most economically deprived local authorities in England, and Middleport itself is one of the most economically deprived wards in Stoke-on-Trent. This is a fact. It does impact how people view the city. At the same time, this challenge shouldn't get in the way. It shouldn't be seen as a roadblock that stops us from undertaking heritage regeneration. Heritage regeneration is an opportunity. The generation of sites like Middleport pottery has those tangible benefits on the local community, on local residents, to some extent on local businesses as well. We've been able to bring in a range of maker manufacturers into Middleport pottery. We have been able to help support our friends and colleagues at Burley with their business as well. We have local community groups operating out of Middleport pottery. So all of those factors together come together to help support the economic offer, not just for the heritage charity, but for local businesses in Burslem and in the immediate area. I can talk a little bit about one of the other projects that we're currently looking at in Burslem, is supporting the owners of the Leopard Inn with the regeneration of that fire-gutted building. I always remember the date of when the Leopard went up in flames because it was on my birthday, so very easy to remember. Currently, the Leopard Inn is an eyesore. It's a burned out, gutted ruin. If we're able to bring that back into use, working alongside the owners, then that will support the economic offer across Burslem town centre generally. So bringing these buildings back into use doesn't just have these economic benefits, it has these less tangible sense of place benefits for local communities by making the local area more attractive, which in turn encourages people to come in and invest to that local area.
Yeah, even tourism. Bringing tourism in.
Tourism's an important factor as well. At Middleport Pottery, we hope to increase the number of visitors at the site. It's always a goal to increase the number of visitors there. But by collaborating with other tourism offers across the city and building a stronger visitor economy, heritage regeneration, whether it's of specific sites like Middleport or the Gladstone Pottery Museum, which of course is council-owned, or it's commercial sites rather than tourist sites, that helps build that broader visitor economy and encourages people to visit the traditional capital of ceramics in the United Kingdom. And not just in the United Kingdom. Across the period sort of circa 1760 to the Second World War, this was one of the key ceramics manufacturing centres anywhere in the world. It's just look at the extraordinary figures for the extent of the trade of Staffordshire ceramics to North America, South America, Australasia. It's mind-blowing in some regards, and that's why there's this significant international interest in the ceramics industry, which can help to bring people in.
And just on that then, Alasdair, the international interest as well, and bringing in, and, Stoke-on-Trent being recognised in countries all over the world, enough, that's what I'm going to say. And in your career, you mentioned it earlier, the extensive career that you've had in travelling and seeing, ceramic ware all over the world as well. How have you seen that has developed in the last sort of 5 or 10 years?
Oh, that is a very tricky question, and I could bore for Britain on that one. When it comes to the heritage side, rather than the economic side, there has long been a significant interest in the heritage impact of Staffordshire ceramics globally. Going back to the very beginning of my career in the 1990s, doing some work in the United States, people were very clued in to the significance of Staffordshire ceramics in helping to inform local discussions about changes in consumption and the impact of the Industrial Revolution. There's been less attention, ironically, from an archaeological and heritage perspective here in the United Kingdom on the significance of the Staffordshire ceramics industry, at least traditionally. But one thing I've really noticed over the last 5 to 10 years is a growing realization of the value of undertaking archaeological studies of that time period here in the United Kingdom. And it's not just industrial archaeology in Stoke, as vital as it is to understand the industry. It's about how developments in ceramics production and consumption and marketing impacted consumption across social classes and across geography here in the United Kingdom as well.
And I'm going to just change it a little bit. I'm going to go back to Middleport.
Yes.
Now, Middleport pottery, I have been myself many a time. I've even had a business meeting in the tea rooms on more than one occasion. Met various different people down there, and it is, I'm not going to be biased, and I am going to big it up because it's a lovely little gem, and it has got so much history. There's all the little shops as well that go round, all the little cobble walkway, and it really is, like you say, a community hub. Now, how can more people, or even more businesses, should I say, how would they be able to, to support the likes of Middleport pottery and have more of a relationship to help that lovely little gem, that site down there at Middleport, to be more well known?
Well, this is where I reveal that we are having a gala dinner on
I know all about your gala dinner.
Yes, gala dinner on the 20th of June of this year, where we're bringing in various members of the local business community, the local charity sector, the local government sector, so that we can help share what we're doing, not just at Middleport Pottery, but also at Reform Heritage more generally, and encourage people to support us. Our fundraising manager, Emily Webster, would think it would be remiss of me not to note that we do have opportunities advertised on our website and at Middleport Pottery about how people can support us both conceptually and financially, and we do welcome donations and support not just from the public but also from the broader business community in Stoke-on-Trent. Now, that's a specific site. All of that is true, but when it comes to heritage regeneration across Stoke-on-Trent, when it comes to considering how regeneration of specific sites might help grow the economy and help lead to social regeneration in Stoke-on-Trent as well, then by all means come to us and have a conversation. We're a growing charity. I likely won't have the capacity to support every single heritage regeneration project in Stoke, nor do I have the ambition of single-handedly taking that over. But I'm always open to having an informal conversation and give some tips to local business leaders, other business people in the city about how they can consider the connection between heritage and growing the local economy.
Yeah, and again, it's those conversations, isn't it? Different conversation starters. And I think also, just from, my point of view or from other businesses that I know, it's having that understanding again of what we've talked about today, is how important heritage really is on local economies.
It is, absolutely. Again, I could throw statistics at the wall in the hoping that some of them stick. I know that's counterproductive sometimes when you're talking on the radio. I'd simply note, not only does it help build a sense of place, not only does working out of a heritage building often bring intangible benefits to a business that wants to connect to its local community, but there are very real economic and social benefits in driving heritage regeneration. I'll just take one small one here, that when it comes to considering modern environmental considerations in the regeneration of a building, it's often less expensive and more environmentally sound to regenerate a standing building than to knock it down and attempt to build something new. You will likely have a better environmental output by regenerating an existing heritage building.
See, that's something that you don't tend to hear about as much. Sometimes it might be misinterpreted that it could actually be more expensive to do that.
I think people do sometimes focus on what they perceive as the challenges of working with a listed building, whether it's grade 2, grade 2 star, or in very rare occasions, grade 1 listed, or even buildings that are locally listed rather than nationally listed. They think this is a challenge. But instead, you need to think about the opportunities, things about how this might help your environmental goals and your environmental obligations. The opportunities that arise, even if it's PR opportunities to arise from saying, I'm contributing to heritage regeneration in Stoke-on-Trent. There are real benefits if people look at this as an opportunity rather than a challenge.
Looking at opportunities, it's what I'm all about, Alasdair. And one last question before you go then. I know we've touched on it, we've talked about Stoke-on-Trent, but what would you like to see for the future of Stoke-on-Trent and our heritage?
It's a long-term ambition. It's not going to happen overnight. It's something for which there need to be months, years of conversations over. But I think Stoke-on-Trent's heritage is internationally significant enough to be making an application for UNESCO World Heritage status, and we should be shouting to the rooftops about how this is heritage that's not just locally significant, it's internationally significant, and that's one mechanism for achieving that.
Alasdair, thank you so much for joining me here on Business Spotlight. I hope you've enjoyed that.
I have very much. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. That's Alasdair Brooks, Chief Executive from Reform Heritage, here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonya Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.